Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. What happens when a secret gets so heavy that staying silent becomes impossible? Well, on the streets of Weatherfield that moment finally arrived, and it exploded in the most dramatic way possible. In a powerful moment on Coronation Street, Leanne Battersby finally gathers the courage to reveal the truth about Megan's shocking action. The confession sends shockwaves through Weatherfield, and within moments, police officer Lisa Swine steps forward and arrests Megan right in front of everyone. You know how sometimes in life you can feel when something just isn't right, even if nobody saying it out loud. That's exactly the kind of tension that had been building on the cobbles of Weatherfield for weeks. On the surface, life seemed normal. People chatting outside shops, neighbors exchanging greetings, and the usual drama unfolding around the street. But underneath all of that everyday routine, there was a heavy secret quietly eating away at Leanne Battersby. Leanne had been carrying a truth that she never wanted to hold in the first place. It was the kind of secret that keeps you awake at night, the kind that makes every casual conversation feel like a lie. Because every time she saw Megan walking around Weatherfield like nothing had happened, laughing, talking, acting completely normal, it made the weight of that secret feel even heavier. You can imagine how painful that must have been. Watching someone move freely while knowing the damage they had caused, it was like a constant reminder that something was terribly wrong. Yet nobody else seemed to see it. At first, Leanne tried to keep it buried. Maybe she hoped the situation would somehow resolve itself. Maybe she was afraid of what would happen if the truth came out. After all, exposing something like this wouldn't just affect one person. It would send shockwaves through the entire community. And let's be honest, in a place like Weatherfield, nothing stays quiet for long. Leanne knew that speaking up could destroy relationships, spark arguments, cross the street, and place her right in the center of a storm. But the longer she stayed silent, the more unbearable the guilt became. Eventually, the pressure reached a breaking point. The moment came during a tense gathering where emotions were already running high. People were asking questions, trying to piece together things that didn't quite add up. And in that moment, surrounded by neighbors who were desperate for answers, Leanne realized something important. Fear couldn't control her anymore. With a shaky voice but undeniable determination, she finally said what she had been holding inside for so long. She revealed the truth about Megan and the devastating actions she had been hiding. The room instantly fell silent. Not the kind of silence where people are simply listening, but the kind where everyone is stunned, trying to process what they just heard. You could almost imagine people glancing at each other, wondering if they had misunderstood. For some residents, the revelation confirmed suspicions they had quietly been developing. They had noticed small things about Megan that didn't quite add up. Strange moments, awkward conversations, tiny hints that something wasn't right. But hearing the truth spoken out loud changed everything. For others, the shock was even bigger. Megan was someone they believed they knew, someone who had been part of their daily lives. The idea that she could be responsible for something so harmful felt almost impossible to accept. Standing among the crowd was Lisa Swine, who suddenly found herself in an incredibly difficult position. As a police officer, she had the duty to uphold the law, but she was also part of the same close-knit community. As Leanne continued speaking, Lisa could feel the pieces finally coming together. The strange interactions she had noticed before, the inconsistencies in Megan's behavior, the uneasy feeling that something wasn't quite right. Now it all made sense. For a brief moment, the weight of the situation visibly hit her. Anyone in that position would feel it. But Lisa had years of experience behind her, and she knew exactly what needed to happen next. The time for hesitation was over. Meanwhile, Megan could feel the atmosphere shifting around her. The confident image she had maintained for so long was starting to crack. The calm expression she had been wearing slowly faded as fear crept into her face. She tried to dismiss Leanne's words, brushing them off as misunderstandings or exaggerations. But by that point, it was already too late. Too many people had heard the truth, and too many pieces were beginning to connect. Then came the moment that nobody in Weatherfield will forget anytime soon. Lisa stepped forward calmly, her voice steady and firm as she informed Megan that she was under arrest. The words seemed to echo through the air. For Megan, it was like the ground had suddenly disappeared beneath her feet. One moment she was standing there trying to defend herself, and the next moment she was facing the reality that everything had just changed. Around them, the crowd reacted in a wave of emotion. Some people stood there in complete disbelief, trying to wrap their heads around the dramatic scene unfolding right in front of them. Others couldn't hold back their anger, demanding answers and justice for what had happened. The tension in that moment was almost overwhelming. But through all the chaos, Lisa remained composed. She handled the arrest carefully and professionally, making sure everything followed the proper legal procedures, even as the emotional atmosphere around them intensified. For Leanne, the moment was incredibly complicated. On one hand, she felt a sense of relief. The burden she had been carrying for so long was finally gone. The truth was no longer trapped inside her, but at the same time, watching Megan being taken away wasn't easy. The consequences of that confession were now unfolding right in front of her eyes, and she knew the impact would ripple through Weatherfield for a long time. Still deep down, she knew she had done the right thing. Lisa also carried the emotional weight of the situation. Even though she stayed professional during the arrest, it was clear that the moment affected her deeply. Arrests are never simple, but they become even harder when they involve people from your own community. People you see every day. These weren't strangers, they were neighbors. But justice had to come first, as Megan was escorted away. The once confident figure who believed she could keep the truth hidden was now facing the consequences of her actions. Her carefully constructed world had collapsed within minutes. For the residents of Weatherfield, the scene became an unforgettable reminder that secrets rarely stay buried on the cobbles. In the hours and days that followed, the entire community buzzed with conversation. People discussed the shocking moment in homes, cafes, and street corners. Some praised Leanne for her courage, recognizing how difficult it must have been to speak up. Others directed their anger toward Megan, struggling to understand how she could hide something so serious while pretending everything was normal. Meanwhile, the legal process began moving forward. Megan was taken into custody and formally questioned as authorities began digging deeper into the truth that had just been revealed. For Lisa, the job wasn't finished with the arrest. She now had the responsibility of ensuring the investigation moved forward properly and that every detail of the case was examined. The emotional weight of the situation launched across Weatherfield, but there was also a quiet sense that something important had happened. The truth had finally come out, and sometimes that's the first step toward healing. In classic Coronation Street style, the storyline delivered a powerful mix of intense drama and deeply human emotion. It showed how difficult it can be to tell the truth, but also how important it is when justice is on the line. And the moment Leanne spoke out, followed by Lisa placing Megan under arrest, instantly became one of those unforgettable scenes that fans will be talking about for a long time. Because on the streets of Weatherfield, secrets might hide for a while, but sooner or later, the truth always finds its way into the light. The fallout from this event will ripple across Weatherfield, shaking relationships, and forcing the community to confront the consequences of Megan's actions. Honestly, this storyline hits hard because it reminds us how powerful courage can be. Sometimes, one person speaking the truth is all it takes to change everything. So, what do you think? Did Leanne do the right thing by exposing the truth, even though it caused such chaos in Weatherfield? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy dramatic TV breakdowns like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.